Got a friend in me.
Not much to say about the first Toy Story that hasn't already been said. It's a classic and it changed animation forever. Did you know Joss Whedon was one of the writers? I was always surprised this one was less popular. Honestly, I find its message about standing up to oppression and an unfair system even more relevant now than it was back then, especially as it applies to capitalism and corrupt working environments. The grasshoppers don't need the ants to provide for them. It's all about keeping their position of power. Don't eat the rich, feed them the birds. A classic just like the first, less funny but more heartfelt. Whether in 1999 or 2019, When She Loved Me will always be a tearjerker. One of my favorites! I love the jazzy soundtrack and the world of this movie, particularly all of the monsters and their designs. One of Pixar's most visually creative films for sure, with stellar writing and an excellent message to back it up. It's fine. Don't get me wrong, I think it's good. I just never quite understood why it was one of Pixar's most popular movies and still is. Yet somehow I feel more sad for Marlin losing his wife and hundreds of children than I do for Carl and Up. You know, I never knew this movie actually took place in an alternate 1960s until recently. While not my favorite of Brad Bird's films, it's still fantastic and I completely understand why it's so beloved. God at least handed to him for making a Watchmen movie 5 years before Zack Snyder. I love cars! I don't care what anyone says, the people who hate this movie are not living their best life. Or maybe I'm just a sucker for character development-centric stories about cocky jerks learning humility. Either way, I'll never get why this one's so widely disliked. And don't say Mater because he's charming as heck! I like this one more than The Incredibles, actually. Maybe it's because I love Patton Oswalt or all the gorgeous shots of Paris, but something about this one just speaks to me a little more. I'd say it's underrated, but it seems to be getting more recognition now, thankfully, as I see the final scene with Anton Ego referenced a lot on the internet these days. This isn't just my favorite Pixar movie, it's one of my favorite movies ever. The fact a significant percentage of it doesn't even have dialogue and tells its story only through action and music is a testament to the power and beauty of animation. It's a perfect film. Pixar hasn't topped it since, and I doubt they ever will.
Nothing he cannot do.
I'm not a fan of this one. I know, blasphemy, but there's so many things that make no sense. Like, how the hell is Munt still alive after all these years? And why is he so obsessed with a damn bird when he's capable of literally inventing technology that translates dog thoughts into human speech? If this movie were a short film roughly equivocal to its first third, I'd like it a lot more, but as a 90-minute feature, it's not good. I'm sorry. Please email your complaints here. The perfect conclusion to a perfect trilogy. This movie actually came out the same year I graduated high school, so you can bet your sweet bottom dollar that I cried my eyes out in the theater during the final scene. So, why'd they make a fourth one again? The people who say this is the worst Pixar movie haven't seen The Good Dinosaur. Yeah, it's not great. The plot is overly complicated and completely falls apart when you stop to think about it even a little bit, but I find it fun and entertaining regardless. I enjoy it, but it probably would have worked better as one of those Mater shorts as opposed to a whole feature. For the last time, it's not a ripoff of Brother Bear. It's based on an old Scottish fairy tale that also just happens to involve bears. Sorry so many folktales involve bears, I guess. Anyway, I like it. Merida's relationship with her mother is way too relatable. Also, her dad is awesome. I relate to Mike on a spiritual level in this movie. Trying your damnedest but still not being able to achieve your dreams the way you intend because of physical limitations you can do nothing about? Geez, Pixar, the only way you could make me connect to this character more is if he was purple. Anyway, this one's fantastic, has a stellar message, and honestly deserves more appreciation. While this movie does a lot of things other similar World Inside the Mind stories have done before, it brings enough of its own uniqueness and charm to not only stand out, but be my second favorite Pixar film behind WALL-E. Rest in peace, Bing Bong. Your sacrifice will never be forgotten. Ugh, this is the worst. It's an absolute mess. The environments are gorgeous, but they clash with the cartoony characters. The story is bland and unoriginal. Hell, they don't even do anything interesting with the concept of it actually taking place in modern times except in a universe where dinosaurs were never wiped out. The way it's portrayed is might as well just be an alternate prehistoric period where humans and dinosaurs did exist at the same time. This spent years in production hell, and you can tell it should have gone the way of Newt and just been cancelled. I like this one more than the original. Dory's a more interesting character to me, and I appreciate how this is a really positive film about a disabled woman who, while she struggles with her disability, doesn't let it hold her back, and doesn't need a love interest. Although Hank is a bae, I love this tsundere cephalopod with all my heart. Oh hey, a Cars sequel that actually continues Lightning's story and character arc. What a concept. Pixar definitely took the Toy Story 2 approach to this one, as it's definitely more emotional than the first film, making it just as good if not better. The line, "Racing wasn't the best part of Hud's life, you were," is a direct hit to my feels. So I mostly like this one, but I have a big problem with it, and that's De La Cruz's characterization. Maybe I'm just sick of the broken pedestal trope, but I think it would have been way more interesting if Hector had died of natural causes, with Cruz genuinely wanting to carry on his friend's legacy while not realizing what he was actually doing was stealing away all his glory, as opposed to just being a cliche backstabbing villain. It's alright, but the Book of Life is still my preferred Dia de los Muertos movie.